Hey y'all, this is Barely There here again with another movie review for you. With me as always is David Archibald Harvey. David, how are you doing today?
Thunder, Thundercats. Oh!
That's where all these cats come from. I don't. Man, that trailer hit big.
That's disturbing. I'm like,
Yeah.
is this a trailer for cats or Casper the Friendly Ghost? I couldn't tell.
I don't know which one I want more. Probably Casper. I would love to see. They're remaking everything these days. Which, ironically, is what brings us here tonight. If I ever see another damn lion again, it'll be too soon. I have watched The Lion King today. I have seen both versions of The Lion King today, as I've mentioned to David before, and this may come as a shock to many people. I never really sat through the full movie of the original Lion King that released in the 90s. Maybe I... Excuse me? Hello?
Okay. I
You
knew.
okay? Yeah. Okay. You had a hernia or something. I don't think I've ever really sat through the whole entirety of the original 90 movie. But I did today. And I saw the new quote unquote, I don't know what the technical term is, but I'm just going to use it, live action, even though it's not really live action. 2019 remake movie today too as well. So I've seen tons of lions, tons of singing, tons of just tons of stuff. And my mind is at its limit. But yeah, so I watched the new movie first. And then I watched the original one, and I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on my feelings and opinions on both movies. And I know this is definitely a movie that many people have been looking forward to seeing. So yeah, Lion King 2019, produced by none other than Disney, of course, directed by Jon Favreau, starring ton of good names. You know, you got Donald Glover, of course, Beyonce, John Oliver, Seth Rogen. We got old James Earl Jones back yet again, voicing the iconic Mufasa. This movie has a lot of things going for it. David, were you pretty excited for this movie too?
I really wasn't excited for this movie until I was sitting down in a theater, and like right before the movie started, like all the trailers were done. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm about to see like the live action, you know. And so
Sure.
I was, for that one moment, I was excited, you know, for the sunrise, I was
Yep.
like, oh, and like it was just one of those moments, like wow, like this is happening right now, you know, because this is a movie we got like 20, like 24 years ago, maybe,
Yeah.
you know, something like that. And it was just really, this is one of those movies that, you know, a lot of us just grew up as one of those super nostalgia thingies. You know, I know that we had like our Aladdins, and we had our Beauty and the Beast, and we had like a few other remakes, you know, things like that. But this one is just definitely for like a 90s kid. This was one of those. And so, yeah, for that one moment there, I was actually pretty excited.
Nice. And I totally understandable. You know, I'm not going to lie. I kind of had that feeling too as well. I did. It happened for me the second I heard Mufasa's voice. That really kind of struck a chord that I didn't think it would hit. I was like, snap! Like I'm really seeing this. This is cool. This is even though I didn't ask for it, this is something I never thought I'd see. And it was pretty cool. And I was sucked into the world for a minute. Like, well, I'll save that in a second. So first, let's talk about all the things that we enjoyed in this movie. And where my thought was going with that, for the first 10 minutes or so, I really, really was impressed by the visual effects of this movie. The lions look legit. Like, for a minute, my mind really bought that these things were like living, moving creatures. Super, super impressed. The one thing I will say about Disney movies, except for maybe the Cars franchise, they always push animation to the furthest level that they can. And just on a technical standpoint, I think this movie is super well done, super polished. Like I said, everything moves and lives and breathes. I've never been face to face with a lion, and I hope I never do. But if I ever were, I imagine their eyes, their fur, their manes, they would look identical to this. So I was pretty impressed with that. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think that the movie looked great. It looked nice and crisp. There were some parts, like when Simba grew up and was in the jungle, that looked, it looked, it was a. I understand, like, they had like it's not the easiest thing to do to make that animation look legit, but I think if I had to like name a part in the movie that looked a little visually weak, it was when Simba was there in the jungle. Comparing that scene to the rest of the movie, which was very, very crisp. I agree. I remember talking to you, and I said, like, I really couldn't tell on like a couple scenes with Mufasa. Like, I'm like, is that a real lion? Or like if it was like he's like seeing,
Yeah, same. Yeah, I thought for a second Jon Favreau just went to Africa for a minute and just just put down a camera and just left it there for a month, and just let it roll. Yeah, really, really good stuff there. Another thing that I liked, I'm done. Anything else that you like?
Hey, all right, bud.
I'm okay. I got all the things I like out of the way.
A lot of juice.
I'm out. I'm done. I will say, some, not all, definitely not all, but some of the voice talent I did like in this movie. I liked John Oliver as Zazu. I thought he did a good job. And I remember liking Timon and Pumbaa. I thought they were pretty good. I bought it, and I felt like their voices fit the characters. And I really like, again, Mufasa, of course, James Earl Jones is gonna kill it. But I really liked the beginning. I liked Simba and Nala when they were just cubs, and them just kind of playing and teasing each other, their kind of relationship. I thought they had pretty good chemistry. It was almost line for line what they were reading off of from the original, but I thought it translated pretty well, and I really liked that bit. So yeah, some of the voice actors I really enjoyed.
Yeah. Like Donald Glover. I told you Donald Glover's voice acting in this movie, like, I was really a big fan of. I really enjoyed. I don't know what it was, man, but it was just like, I don't know, like, he just took me there. I was just like,
Yeah.
Like, I liked how Donald Glover didn't sound like Donald Glover, or at least like the Donald Glover that I thought he was going to sound like. You know, his adaptation of Simba, of adult Simba, was, I think it was really spot on, man. Like, Preston, you just watched the original cartoon movie.
I did.
Would you say that Donald Glover's voice was similar to the guy? I don't know the guy's name from the original movie, but what would you say?
No, they're not similar. They're not similar.
No, just from just from like raw memory, like I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen the cartoon in a long time, but I feel like I felt like it was a little similar. But again, I haven't seen this movie in a really long time. But
Okay.
for this role, for this movie, this 2019 movie, I felt like it just fit perfectly.
Okay.
For here, because when I first heard that Donald Glover was playing Simba, I was kind of just like, why?
Yeah.
Like why are they
Yeah.
picking Donald Glover to do this? Like
Because he's hot right now.
he is hot right now. That's true. That's true. Like I
Yeah.
mean, like I respect DG. Like DG's he's a cool dude. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
was just like, okay, he's playing Simba. Okay, like it's like like Disney couldn't get enough of Lando there, and so they wanted something else. But I was pleasantly surprised by his voice. It was very soothing for me in this movie. I just as a whole, I appreciated this movie. Being the again quote unquote live action version of a childhood movie. I just thought it was cool to see that in general. I'm a supporter of these live action Disney remakes. Like I don't have any qualms with them. I'm not gonna see all of them for sure. I'm not like they're not that important to me. Some of them are, not all of them. But yeah, just for what the movie was, I appreciated it. And so yeah, it was cool to see that. I would say it's like kind of like two sides to one coin. It's like a good thing and a bad thing. What I'm about to say, I like how the movie was pretty much a freaking word for word remake of the cartoon. I like that, and I didn't like that at the same time.
I understand.
Yes, I'll go into that more when we switch over to what we didn't like.
Or what we didn't like. Okay. Was there anything else about the movie that you liked?
That's pretty much it.
Okay. Yeah, I know I'm done. I'm good. So yeah, the things we didn't like. I will start. I'm gonna have to disagree with you, but it's not like a hard thing.
Sure.
I was not wowed by Donald Glover's performance as Simba. But that doesn't mean I didn't dislike it. I was like, It for a guy who's watched a crap ton of Community and is a big fan of Childish Gambino, I just heard Donald Glover. Like I could definitely tell that was him, and like he wasn't. I didn't feel like he was doing anything too special, but and I will say I do prefer the original Simba voice compared to this one, but I'm not saying Donald Glover did a bad job. That I could there was never. It didn't take me out of the movie. I could see this Simba. Like that voice coming from that character, that lion, it still made sense in my head. I thought it was okay. I thought it was fine. I just wasn't as wowed by it as you were. And well, no, we're in the bad section. I liked his singing voice. I think that's one of the reasons why they chose him, because he was able to do both. But I will say, kinda the second. And it's a horrible transition because he just bursts through some bushes and all of a sudden young Simba is now, mature Simba. The second that happens was the second the movie just kind of went downhill for me. I was already kind of hanging on, and by that time I just let go. I just let go. First of all, that Hakuna Matata song, I felt just didn't have the punch that the original one had. And every song, even though I think there were only two that followed it afterwards, was just weak. Particularly, and not just because it was during the sun being up, but although that really is ridiculous. The can you feel the love tonight? The fact
Today?
that it turned, yeah. Can you feel the love this afternoon? Like, really. That's stupid. I don't know why nobody caught that. but that song definitely didn't have a punch, and I hate it. I hated it. Simba's and Nala's relationship when they were older. Like, it
Jeez,
just
man.
almost, I hated it.
What?
It just didn't make
Like,
any
what?
sense. I feel like the
What
original
term?
had a better. I feel like the original just had a better transition, and this one, it's just like Nala just pops up, and Nala pops up, and she's surprised for like 2 seconds that Simba's alive, and is like, no, nah, buddy, you got to come home. Shit's crazy. And Simba's like, no, I don't want to come back. And they just get into the heart of the matter. Like, I felt like it should have been more of an impact that Nala, like, kind of like in the original, that Nala is surprised, like, hey, my childhood best friend is alive. The whole time I thought he was dead. The movie kind of breezes over a lot of really important plot points. Like, I almost feel like it just kind of hurries to the end, because that song, Can You Feel the Love Tonight, isn't that long. Like, it's pretty quick and just goes back to like, yeah, let me convince Simba to come back. Oh, he doesn't want to come back. Rafiki pops out of nowhere, speaks his 2 lines, and then you see, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. But I really didn't like that movie at all, like, from that point forward. And Beyonce, I'll say real quick before I turn it over to you. Beyonce, her voice is okay. It's her delivery. Like, some of the lines, I just wasn't buying. That one in particular, when they first meet up again. There was one line, I forget what she said, but when she was like kind of like defying her mother to leave to go find Simba, it was one that felt kind of off. And weirdly so, after they get back for Simba to confront Scar, she doesn't have that many lines afterwards. I wonder if the director just realized, oh yeah, she can't do this, so they just cut out some of her lines, because she doesn't speak that much at all. So yeah, I didn't like that. What's something you didn't like?
Pretty much every time I Nala had a line, Beyonce had a line, all I hear is like, your love's got me feeling so crazy right now. It's got me feeling so crazy right now. Like, dude, like I told you, man, like, Beyonce, I didn't like Beyonce in this movie. Like, I liked the parts where her songs. I'm like, cool, Beyonce's got a great voice, she's a singer. But I'm gonna give Beyonce like the best, like, the most disrespectful compliment ever is that she's too big. She's too big of like a celebrity, and it's like she's like a mega star. And like, dude, like, Donald Glover is fire. He's trending like hardcore. You know, he has been for like the past probably like 4 or 5 years. You know, like, he's like, if not more than that, he just keeps going up. But it's still like Beyonce's like a freaking icon, though. You know, like Donald Glover just hasn't been that big for that long, and so Beyonce, just every part with her in this movie, every time like Nala's speaking voice was going, it did really take me out of the movie. I just couldn't. I couldn't get Beyonce out of my head. I couldn't get her face out of my head. Every time she was in, like, she's bigger than the freaking Lion King. You know, like, a Beyonce concert is gonna sell out more than like the Lion King. You know, and that was just kind of rough for me.
I kind of got the same. I kind of got the same feeling too, man. Like, towards the end, like, every other line she did have, I felt like she was like trying to steal the spotlight a little bit. Like, yeah, I am the queen. Like, not yet. You are. She was. Like I said, like you said, like, her voice sounds fine. It's just I don't maybe it's her name, maybe it was just the way she was saying the lines. But yeah, it took me
Yeah.
like and again, even though I didn't think Donald Glover was necessarily bad, I kind of just wish I can go back to just seeing. I just felt like they were more fun to watch when they were kids, when they were cubs.
Yeah, I think it sounds like really the cub part versus the grown part.
Yeah.
Yeah, and dude,
and Donald Glover wasn't in this movie. His voice wasn't in this movie as much as I thought he'd be. Because at least it didn't feel like it.
Yeah, really 50-50, like kid Simba, grown up Simba, you know?
I feel like this movie is more like 70-30, honestly. If I'm remembering it correctly. I did just watch the original, so that one feels more 50-50 to me. But and that's because in this later half of this movie, another thing I didn't like is this later half of the movie. I think it is shorter. I didn't have a stopwatch. I don't know for sure, but that's because they take out a lot of the cool stuff in this second half of the movie, particularly with my man. Okay, two things. So instead of giving my boy Rafiki his due spotlight, we decide to go on this magical trail, this magical, wishful, majestic trail.
Yes.
Of Simba's hair. And the more it went on, the more I was getting pissed off, dude. the more I was getting pissed. Like, it was cool for like the first 5-10 seconds. I'm like, okay, I know where this is going. But then it just kept going. And then by the time it got to that goddamn dung beetle, and he's just like rolling the turd, I'm like, oh, okay, so we're just gonna leave that piece of mane alone. Oh nope, there it is. There it's still floating. It's still going. Okay. And then it finally gets to Rafiki. And if that was the point I realized, like, if I show this movie to some person who at first some reason never even heard the words Lion King, and I were showing this movie, they would just have no idea like who Rafiki is and why he's so important and why he's so cool. Because he just, and it makes no sense why Rafiki like knows Simba, why he's so, spiritual, I guess, or magic like, why he's basically the magical Negro, because he helps Simba out of nowhere. Even Simba's like, who are you? The real question is, who are you? No, seriously, who are you? Who are you, man? It's my own business. Who the hell? I knew your father. What? So yeah, I felt some disrespect on that, man. I really hated that part, and that just left a bad taste in my mouth that followed me and kind of throughout the rest of the movie, man. I really. Yeah, it's after just watching the original, like, he had some really cool deep lines, man.
Yeah, dude. And Rafiki got like, I don't know why the first thing I was supposed to say was whitewashed. It wasn't whitewashed.
He got whitewashed.
Like, he got like acid washed or something. They took like all the flavor and color out of Rafiki's character in this movie.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah.
That hurt me. Man, that hurt me. That hurt me. You warned me, because folks, David had seen the movie 2 days ago, opening night, and I just watched it today, it being Saturday. And I asked him a couple of things about it, and one of the things he didn't mention, I was like, Rafiki he had a very limited role, and I was already disappointed. But I didn't know how limited until I saw it today, and I was really. He had like what, 4-5 minutes of screen time? Even that
much, right?
Right.
This is coming from you. This is coming from you, a guy who, hasn't been like a very strong like Lion King fan.
Nope.
Like, I think like naturally, everybody who watches the Lion King knows that Rafiki is like a prominent character, and I'm not talking about like his screen time in either movies, but just like him, him just being a flavorful, interesting character, and this live action Rafiki really didn't
nope,
he didn't really like hit the mark there on this one. He was just kind of like, man, I really wasn't big. So I didn't like how Rafiki didn't have his staff until the end. Like I kind of like there's I feel like I'm very contradicting sometimes. I kind of like the when he did grab his staff. It was kind of like an epic moment because like I didn't think that it was going to be in the movie at all. But when he did get it in the end, like in the last fight, I'm like, oh, cool, he's got his staff. But it's like I didn't like how he didn't have it the whole movie.
Sure.
So, yeah, like that was kind of too bad. Like how he was in this movie. There was just like the things that they wanted to do with this movie. I don't know. Like it was just kind of, like you said earlier, all the songs kind of fell flat a little bit.
Yeah.
The songs still like they were okay. Preston, now that you've seen the live action movie, can you relate to me when I told you the volume in my theater seemed kind of low?
Was same that in mine. Same in mine. Huh. You're right. Yeah, the volume was not boosted up. I don't know what the hell was going on. It wasn't like super low, but it was like, yeah, this definitely should feel louder.
I don't know what the heck that I feel like I've never really come across this obstacle before in a movie. Practically every single movie that I've seen is like the volume's pretty pumping in there, but for some reason this movie, live action Lion King, like on especially when parts where it seems like it should have been louder, it just didn't really. I don't know what the dealio was, there.
Yeah.
And so I think that really affected the song experience too in the movie. And there's just like the song sequences in the movie in the original were just so animated and vibrant. Pretty much every single one of them. I think the closest adaptation, the most accurate one that we got was. Well, never mind. I was going to say, can you feel the love tonight? But no, they even missed that. No. Like if all they were missing was just they were missing the time of day. That's all they were missing. But like if they would have, because like when they the part where I just can't wait to be king, and the part where Scar sings "Be Prepared." Oh
God, that song fell flat so hard.
Yeah, like they were all just kind of like they were very meh, like meh. So yeah, like the song parts really didn't hit the mark in this movie. Yeah, they kind of fell flat there.
They fell flat. Again, my favorite song being "I Just Can't Wait to Be King." I literally just an hour ago I watched the original one, and it made me realize another thing I didn't like about this new movie. This movie's boring to look at. After your mind adjusts to the fact that, wow, this visually, like, it looks cool. These look like real lions and antelopes and monkeys and birds. After you get used to it, this movie's pretty boring to look at. There's no real. I remember like maybe one kind of cool camera trick they did with the Stampede, but other than that, everything just was shot pretty widescreen and just straight on. Nothing too clever, nothing too colorful. This is the detriment of making it live action. When I Just Can't Wait to Be King plays in the original version, like Simba like pounces on Zazu, and like the colors just instantly change, and it's vibrant, it's colorful. It's almost like an acid trip, but you're into it because you just don't know what's gonna happen. It's a legit like fun time, not just with the theme with the music, but just visually, like it's interesting. Animals are doing crazy shit. They're doing like pyramids, and antelopes are flying even though they don't have wings. It's crazy. But in this movie, it's just nope. They're just two cubs. They're just moving through other animals. And that's just one of the things, like, you have to just grin and bear if you want to make this as quote unquote realistic as possible. And another thing with the animation is that the characters can emote their expressions and their feelings. Their faces felt very stiff in this movie, very stiff. Like Mufasa, like frowning, and Mufasa smiling is almost the exact same image. Like, and I remember when Simba was quote unquote crying and feeling sad and scared after he died, and Scar confronted him, like I couldn't tell in Simba's face exactly what he was feeling. I could only rely on his voice. The voice actor for the Cub Simba was great, but just like all their faces, they were so stiff, and that's a result of making it realistic looking, making it
Sure,
live action.
it's a hard feat, to accomplish. With this, I think that it's something that they thought about and they just went for it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. To extend off of that, I was really disappointed in the hyenas and in Scar. I can never pronounce this man's name right. Chiwetel Ejiofor, the black guy from Doctor Strange. He voices Scar in this movie. And I don't know if it was just the director directing him this way, but he doesn't sound menacing to me. He just sounds bored. He sounds bored and kind of uninterested, almost to the point where, like, I don't know why he feels so pissed that he's not king. And, like, he comes up with this plan to group with the hyenas to take over, but he acts so lazy and, or not acts, but he sounds so lazy about it to me. And I just didn't believe him, man. I tried, but I didn't believe him. I was more interested in let me hold up. I liked the voice. I liked all the voices that hyenas had. Of course, Keegan-Michael Key and Okoye as the she was nice. The few lines that she had, she was nice too. But yeah, I did not like Scar. And dude, that song, Be Prepared, that's also a one I really like from that movie too. I Can't Wait to Be King and Be Prepared. Those are the two that I remember the most. And that scene, first of all, again, it's quick and visually it's shot at night. But it doesn't have like the cool like fire and crazy colors like the original had. So it's just dark and muddy. And Scar's not really singing. He's kind of just like talking through the song.
I feel like they out of all the songs, I feel like they really breezed over that one.
Yes. Yeah. And it's an important one because it's the one that sets off the whole movie, man. That's the reason why this movie happens. So that's a big no-no in my book.
I didn't even tell that the song had like started. Going? Like, is this it now? Oh, he's doing it now.
Oh, he's doing it now. Oh, I thought he was just talking still. I didn't. Because with the music not kicking in because the sound's still low, and him just not singing. Like, yeah, you don't know when it starts necessarily. So yeah, they dropped the ball hard on that one, man. I was really disappointed in that one. And also too, real quick, last thing on this point, I remember like when Scar took over, and I get their strength in numbers or whatever, but I just remember looking at the hyenas, like they're so small and skinny, and Scar looks like old and skinny and almost like sick looking. I remember like the female lions just like huddled up together, like kind of scared. I'm like, I know there's a few more of them than you, but like if you really wanted to, you guys could probably kill them all. Like, I don't understand why you guys are acting like that scared. Is Simba the last male lion? Is that why you're scared? Because I don't see any other male lions. Why is it just only female lions? Like, is that why you need a manly man to kill them? Like, I don't understand.
Man.
I guess
manpower.
But yeah, that was one thing that I really noticed and really got annoyed by. Granted, it's kind of like that in the original too, but I guess because this is supposed to be realistic looking, it just stood out to me more in this version.
Sure. I don't know. Yeah. Right. There's something, I don't know, freaking lioness can't act on their own will. I don't know. They didn't hear about the women's rights to vote. But
that's true. I guess you guys are equal now. You guys, right? You guys could do it. Even Nala, who had some backbone, she still just ran off to go find a man.
Right?
Take care of business.
Lion King actually took place in the 1800s. We didn't know that.
Okay, I thought it was released in the 90s, but all right.
Just a few other things. I just how Can't You Feel the Love Tonight didn't make sense that it was shot in the daytime. I feel like the Stampede scene, where they're in the canyon or the gorge or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That scene, cartoon, it really, like, the color and saturation and like the tone of that scene was a lot more like dark when things were going on. But that was kind of, to me, that was another scene that they shot in the daytime, when it should have been a little more, I don't know, kind of like red sky effect. And
yes,
like you said, Preston, like, there's just something that you can't, when for doing a live action movie, like,
yeah,
I understand, like, they can't change it. I know a cartoon versus a live action movie, the colors are just way more bold and they pop, and they're sometimes even more whimsical, like you said, like that acid trip. But that was just one scene. Like, the color in the original cartoon movie really set the tone for that scene, and I feel like that scene also could have been a little different, like lighting, a little different, like time.
The way you feel, I 100% agree. The way you feel about that scene is exactly how I felt with the end fight between Simba and Scar. It was too dark, and because they're lions live action, like, it was hard to tell, like, them getting, like, landing some real shots. The original, like, the fire was, opposed with the night sky, and there was, like, rain and the thunder, and like, when Simba and Scar would hit each other, they did it, like, in slow-mo to really feel the impact. This movie, they're just grappling each other and tussling around. It was kind of weak sauce.
I still feel like that scene was one of the better ones in this movie, though.
And this movie, sure, but it pales in comparison to the original fight.
Sure.
And that's burned in my head because, like I said, I just watched it. So yeah, there was something else I was gonna say that I didn't like about this movie, but I can't. Basically that fight, and then onward, like, yeah, Simba wins or whatever, and the hyenas, like, tear Scar apart or whatever, and then, like, almost instantly, like, it just cuts to day, and then the animals come rushing up to Pride Rock again, and then, Circle of Life, like, they hold up their new kid, and then the movie ends. Like, it felt really rushed to me. Like, dude, I actually, like, the second, like, it became daytime again, I actually got up from my seat and just started walking towards the back, because, like, I already knew. But what surprised me was, before I reached the door to, like, look back just for a second, like, it cut the credits. Like, Lion King. I'm like, oh, that was even quicker than I thought. Bet. Let me beat this traffic. Right? Like,
Get the duck out of here.
Get the duck out of here. So yeah, I just really felt that last half, or at least the last quarter of the movie, just felt really rushed. And which I'm not going to complain too much about, but they could have taken some time. David, as you mentioned before, there are a couple of, and I mean like two, there are a couple of scenes that are quote unquote new to this version of The Lion King. But it doesn't make a difference. Like, they don't do or add anything to this movie, man. They're so insignificant, it doesn't matter. You can cut them out and they'll still be okay.
It was very, very poquito, like really little, like, differences and little, like, add-ons that they did.
Yes.
I think that, and again, like, I wish I liked seeing The Lion King again. I like seeing it on. This is the first time that I've seen The Lion King on a big screen. I remember the first time that I saw Lion King, I was like, it was on VHS. I remember, like, dude, that's one of my earliest memories is watching The Lion King, like, at home, know.
Yep.
But yeah, like this, there's a few parts in this movie I wish they'd have just did a little more. Like Aladdin, live action Aladdin. That movie, yeah, like, it was the same formula, like, they did the same plot and things like that, but I really feel like they put a lot into making it a live action movie. Like there was like a whole entire like genie like plot that they put in the live action Aladdin movie that never happened. There was like a lot more going on inside of the palace in the Aladdin, like things that we never saw. But in the Lion King, there was only like I think Scar. They showed how Scar in the cartoon, I believe that Scar was always in cahoots with the hyenas. Like they never like established the relationship, the beginning of the relationship between him and the hyenas. But in this movie, they show Scar like approaching the hyenas and like saying like, hey, like I can give you whatever you want, blah 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 blah. Like I thought that was a little interesting, a little bit, They also show a part where Simba catches up to Nala when she's heading back to the Pride Lands from Hakuna Matata jungle. I think that was a new part. They probably just wanted to throw in that new song, the desert song that they played with Beyonce singing about Jesus.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't know. That's two. I feel like there was one or two more. I don't know, that I can't totally remember right now.
I can't remember.
But yeah, I think they could have did a little bit. I remember listening to like a little mini like interview with like the cast and like what's the guy who the director,
Jon Favreau.
Yeah, Jon Favreau was talking about like how they wanted to make some changes, but they didn't want to change a lot at the same time. I do feel like that was this mistake in this movie, because everybody and their mama has already seen this movie. We did. I agree. He didn't want to go to the extreme and change too much. Change like the whole thing. Of course, but it's like, of course you weren't gonna do that. I kind of like trust this guy enough to like not make this about wolves. Wolf King.
The Wolf King. Wolf King.
Right. But like he needed to. I feel like they just needed to do something a little different.
100% agree there too as well. And it's like you mentioned before, like you like that they followed the original one, but you also dislike that they stuck with the original one, because there was just like 90. I would say 85 to 90% of this movie is just like line from line, just taken from the original. Like they just pulled it out of the Disney vault, just went.
Like here we go.
Read this.
Right. Like that one scene when Mufasa died, when Simba saw Mufasa fall off of the cliff, and like he screams like no, and they do like this zooming out like shot of his face. I love that. I thought that was awesome because that's exactly what they did in the cartoon version, you know? So I was like, whoa, like it's like I'm watching this movie again. But then like 45 minutes in, I'm like, oh, it's like I'm watching this movie.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. That's perfect. I love the way you put that. Exactly. That's yes. It feels like I'm just watching this movie again. This reminds me of the other movie. That's this movie.
Yeah.
Better.
That one part. There was a new part when Simba scared that antelope deer thingy, like in the woods, and he's like in the jungle, and he's like, I thought you were a lion. Oh, he's like, I thought you were a real lion. Like
you're a real lion.
And then Timon and Pumbaa come up and he's like, hey, I'm sorry, like he's never gonna frolic with you, like I thought that was an original part.
There's some original lines there. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, cool. They just needed more stuff like that.
More stuff like that, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But yeah, when the older son first comes up on the scene and it's still them just kicking it and they're part of the land. Yeah, that was a pretty enjoyable part. It was until Nala came in. And then I guess this might be the last thing because I can't think of anything else. Again, because this is such an important thing, such an iconic thing.
Mm.
I really hate it. I know it's live action. I know they want to make it as realistic as possible, even though this part is not realistic at all. I hate it. I hate it. Hate. The definition. I hated. I hated when Simba saw his dad in the night sky.
Oof.
I couldn't even tell. Like, they were kind of like outlining, like drawing the outline of a lion up there of Mufasa. Like, I almost couldn't tell for a second. Like, this is weak. I hate I hate this.
I remember specifically not remembering that scene in this movie because for 1 second I was watching like Simba was chasing Rafiki for a minute. And I'm like, okay, like he's still chasing him. I'm gonna text somebody really quick. And so like I look down like to text somebody really quick, and then it's like I look back up and Simba's standing in front of this cloud. I'm like, okay, surely this cloud is gonna turn into the shape of a lion, so I can look back down to my phone and text this person, and then look back up. But by the time I look back up, it was like already gone. You know, like there was like no prominent lion figure. And it's there
for
like a
2 seconds. Yes, it was there for like 2 seconds. You probably just missed it.
Right.
But the clouds never like swooshed and made like a lion's mane and him actually talking. It was just literally, it was almost like Mount Rushmore, like just a stiff face of it for a hot second, and then it just faded away. Yeah, I was pretty upset with that, how they handled that scene. And like you said, like it was pretty quick. And it's supposed to be a pivotal point because this is what convinces Simba to take back his birthright and to dethrone Scar. And handle that pretty. Hey, Scar, handle that pretty forward. Yeah. That's it,
review
man.
time.
Review time. I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay, I'm gonna go first. Right, so okay, guys, like this movie, I like this movie, but ultimately it was just not. I mean, no pun intended. It was just nothing new. The parts that were new just didn't really factor out in a whole. I'm gonna give this movie a barely there. After you guys heard everything I said, I enjoyed seeing this movie remade, you know, with like really, really beautiful looking animation and CGI in some points. Like it was really interesting. It was really great to see that. But ultimately, the movie was too much of a carbon copy of the originals. The songs that are so important in a Disney movie, in the Lion King movie, just didn't really deliver. They fell flat. Beyonce is too dank. She's too famous, you know. And so I'm just gonna have to give this movie a barely there. I'm gonna give this movie like a barely. I'll give this movie a barely there. It's not a high barely there. It's not a very low barely there, but it's in the middle kind of going down, you know. barely there for me. That was my Lion King experience there.
All right. And hey, well said. Yeah, so when I left this theater, I threw away my stale nachos and I got in my car. I did a quick Instagram post that I sent to you, David. I did a poll, but I also mentioned how I felt about the movie. And I believe my exact words were, I fucking hate this movie. And I put up a poll to see what some people, to see what they thought of the movie too, if they felt similarly. So far, no, like 20 people voted and they all said they liked it. So maybe I'm just in the wrong here. I don't know. But after like calming down a bit, going home, getting out of the heat, and just chilling, and also watching the original cartoon, I really thought back about the movie. A lot of my bias was just, I know you're kind of on board. I am not. I don't want to see any more of these remakes. Actually, I got to the movie theater kind of late, but I still managed to catch a couple of trailers, and one of them was that Mulan trailer.
Mm-hmm.
that I saw, and it was the last one they played before the movie started, and I was very underwhelmed by that trailer too, man. That does not look exciting, which saddens me because I think Mulan is also another good movie. I think it's about time we get another cool Asian focused movie on the big screen, but that movie doesn't look that great, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm not big on this renaissance of live action Disney remakes. But putting that bias aside, if I really got to cut down to it, I got to judge this movie as a movie, not based on the fact that it's a remake, not based on the fact that there's another movie that exists like it. Just it's standing on its own two legs. How was this movie? This movie it's competent. I didn't sit there in the theater like fuming at it. And there were a couple times where I did smile. So I guess, like grudgingly, I'm going to also give this movie a barely there. It's barely there. It's barely there. Like this is like for me, like this is the definition of barely there. It's just if anything, it's just barely above a no. It's just barely above a no. It's really hard to not compare it to the original. I
mean, there's no way you can't.
There's no way you can't. I've tried. I've tried it. You can't. I already have this superior product. Why do I need this one? So yeah, it's a barely. There's no particularly like one weak aspect of this movie to me, except for maybe Scar and the whole hyena subplot for me. But other than that, like all the voice actors, like they do their job, and like you said, it does look visually great for the most part of the animation. But other than that, it just feels kind of hollow, and it rushes through some pretty important stuff for me. And also, like you said, the music, it does not hit as hard as it should. I kind of knew it wouldn't top the original, but it's on a lower level than I thought it would be. So yeah, it's a barely there. This movie's gonna make a ton of money. They don't care what we think. And for people who are already, I've talked to some people, like customers and coworkers, like at work, like they're jazzed up to see this movie. They're gonna go see it, and I think for them, they're gonna walk out feeling okay. Yeah, they'll feel okay about it. But like, if you're the kind of person that already wasn't hyped for it, kind of like we were, then yeah, there's no reason to go see it right now. Maybe rent it later, catch it on TV. I can almost guarantee it's going to be like on Netflix in the later half of this year. So yeah, it's there was, dude. I was gonna say, can I give it like a high no? Like, would it be a maybe? I don't. Like, I was kind of teetering on that, but nah, I'll give it a simply barely there. It's barely there for me, man.
Yeah, you don't have to see this movie in theaters. You really don't.
You really don't.
You can watch this on Netflix.
Watch this on that. I think it'd be like a nice date movie. You know, like Netflix and chill with the girl. Like, you know, you guys already like The Lion King. Let's just watch this live action one. It's pretty cool. You can tune into it, and then you can dip out of it because you already know what it's about. You'd be all right. Yeah. I'm done. I don't want to see another lion for quite a while. Real quick though, I will say, after having watched the original one, though, I would give the original one. It's a maybe like a low, but still like a solid, like, let's go. Yeah, I'd say it's pretty good. It's still probably not my favorite.
The duck.
It's not the duck. It's not the duck. I know for a lot of people it is the duck, but for me, no. It's a let's go. It's a let's go. It's good. It's fun. It's colorful. It has a good like energy to it, and its dramatic parts are cool and dramatic. Um, I think it's kind of long a little bit, but at least it doesn't feel rushed at any point, like this new one. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, I give that one like a solid let's go. I even though it's not for me, I can see why for many people it's their favorite. You know, they're special. They're the one they love so much. I can see why. Um, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I honestly, on that note, I really think that it's whatever movies delivered to you as a child, it just really
Mm,
has a special place in your heart. Like I
sure.
think we all have different paths. We all have like different, like things that we end up coming across. Like some people come across the Lion King as like their childhood movie. Some people have Aladdin. Some people have the freaking Little Mermaid. Some people have Toy Story.
This is
And
true.
like,
I've met all of
yeah,
those people, and I'm one of those people. I have Toy Story. The girl I was very fond of, she heart beats Aladdin. Um, and yeah, many people have come out of the woodwork, loving the Lion King. So yeah,
for
that's
sure.
true, man. That's true.
Yeah, kind of just depends on like where you go, what happened to you.
What happened to you? Yeah, where you came into this franchise, like it all depends.
Yeah.
It all
See me.
depends.
One just random side note. One movie that never really hit my way when I was a kid was Beauty and the Beast. I
Yeah,
never watched Beauty and the Beast,
same.
and so that's why I wasn't. It was always kind of more of a girl movie for me too.
Yeah, that's why.
See?
Yeah, that's why I never got
Yeah,
into it either. Yeah.
right. So when my beautiful baby Boo, Emma Watson was playing Belle, I really didn't care. I'm like, okay.
I
I'm
didn't
like,
care
nope.
either.
Mm-mm. I'm like, you
I
do
didn't
you.
care either. I was like, hey, I said goodbye to Harry Potter. I wasn't attached to Beauty and the Beast anyway, so I didn't. I didn't. Glad she's still acting, but I
Right.
tough acting to acting. I didn't see why. I didn't see why I needed to see that. I heard it was okay, but
Yeah, I think.
still kind of a girly thing. Yeah, I don't
Hmm.
see why. I think that was it. Like boys had Lion King and girls had Beauty and the Beast. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think, and again, I'm sorry I keep on dissecting these things, but
It's
there
okay.
are those movies like I did like The Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid was one of my favorite Disney movies, and that was a movie of involving a female protagonist, trying to get a prince.
Gay.
I know, right? I had a super mad crush on Ariel. Those shells, man.
I
Those shells
understand.
they had me hooked.
I understand.
You
That's
know,
illegal, but I understand.
right? Like, I don't know
I,
how we're gonna do this, but we'll figure it out together.
yeah,
You
she
know, like
doesn't have legs.
figure it out,
She gets them, but she.
right?
All right, Fry.
Mhm.
Again, I didn't, not to your extent. I didn't love the Little Mermaid, but I did like it. Like it was okay. Like I didn't mind it. I get it mostly because of the music and the animation. Like I love that Under the Sea song. That's in my top 5.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, which is weird because, like you mentioned before, like I normally don't like musicals. But yeah, particularly the Lion King's music and the Little Mermaid. Their songs are very strong. So yeah, Little Mermaid's cool.
Mm.
I hated Pocahontas. Uh,
Pocahontas.
yeah, I hated that movie. It was one of my fondest memories as a kid. My mom taking me and my brother. This was around the time the Power Rangers movie came out too. Um, and I was like, yeah, that was great. I'm gonna go see Pocahontas. I remember just being bored out of my effing mind, man. I was so bored.
Yeah,
But that
that's the home movie, bro. That's when you play on your VHS, so you can get up and walk out the room when you want
it
to.
is, man. It's so boring. The only thing I remember is that one song. Have you ever heard the wolf cry? Blah, blah.
Like, no, I have not.
I have not.
I
I
have
have
not,
not.
Coco.
I've
I
not heard.
haven't.
I've heard them howl. I haven't heard them cry.
Sorry, I'm not on your level.
It felt like a not at your level. It felt like a Little Mermaid, but just slightly grown up and just on land. Like that's how I describe that movie, because they were two characters from two totally different worlds. So
Yeah.
Karen.
All right. Wait till it comes out. Netflix it.
Netflix it. Yeah, Netflix it. But yeah, it's a movie.
It's a movie.
It's a movie. You know what? I kind of want to, even though I just posted a video with the rating system, I kind of wish like I replaced Barely There with it's a movie. Okay, it's a movie. I'm gonna give it. It's a movie. Like yeah, it's legit, but yeah, it's a movie. It's a movie. I don't know. I might update. Hey, how was The Lion King? It's a movie. Like, it works. Damn, is it too late to change it? I might update it later. Who knows?
Maybe we do like no at the bottom, then it's a movie, and then Barely There.
Barely There. Yeah. Okay. No, I'd be down with that. There you go. Lion King. This effing movie just created a brand new rating. It's a movie.
It's not a no, but it's not Barely There.
It's not a Barely There. It's
almost Barely There.
Almost Barely.
It's a movie.
It's a movie. I kind of love that. It kind of makes me like the movie more now, just because it gave us that. That's the headline. Lion King 2019. It's a movie. Like I put that on the Blu-ray box. At the very least, that's what I'm gonna title this video. Lion King movie review. It's a movie.
Movie guys.
It's a movie, guys. We got a movie. Is it a boy? Is it a girl? It's a movie.
Oh man. It's like, and again, just like disclaimer to like all these movie making people. You guys do, honestly, sincerely. Like, you do such a great job. You do stuff that you make people's like dreams and imagination come true. You know, and just from these guys, a lot of these guys, a lot of these actors, a lot of these filmmakers, directors, they do things that I cannot do. I couldn't even come close to doing a lot of the times, you know. But you know, this is a market and it's a business as well, and so we see so many other things and so many other great pieces of art to compare it to, you know. And so, you know, that's why we do what we do. That's why we criticize these things. That's why we have such a vivid opinions on these things, because, you know, so you're putting your product out in the market, yo, and we're like saying like, hey, we have seen something better, you know. But still, I appreciate these guys taking the time out of their lives making movies, redoing Lion King,
right? So they can get our money.
Take my money.
I do too. No, that's a cynical way of looking at it. No, I agree with you, man. Like, these guys are Disney has always had some talented people working there, and what they did, I think, is a bit of a breakthrough with this movie, with the animation and everything. You could tell, like, even though I didn't love this movie, I could tell, like, there was some serious effort and work put into this thing. And yeah, I got to at least give them credit for that. So yeah, it looks good on them. But I just wish I loved it I wish I could have liked it as much as they loved working on it. You know.
One man's trash.
Yeah. It's another man's.
I don't know why I said that, but
I don't know why I said that either. I was gonna finish it, but like I don't see the relation here.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's, like we said, it's barely there. It's a movie. And you know, what else can you ask for, really? So that's it. I'm done. Hopefully, I can stop talking about Lions for at least the rest of the year.
Detroit.
I live in Detroit. I'm moving to Oklahoma, man.
Like, Dad, what's the Super Bowl? Like, I don't know, son. We're Lions.
Everything light touches? That's what I'm gonna roll over? Yes. What about that dark spot over there? That's Detroit. I'll go over to Detroit. You must promise me this. Oh God. And the first thing he does. Anyway. So yeah, that's our review of the movie 2019 Lion King. David, thank you again for doing this movie review with me tonight. I always appreciate it.
Oh yeah, man.
I feel like if I had reviewed this movie by myself, yes, it would have been a shorter review, but I would have been a bit more cynical, a bit more mean.
That was definitely the light in your tonight.
I felt the love this afternoon. The sun is setting. That's another thing. What, they just magically fall in love? Like all of a sudden, like I felt like the chemistry was barely there. They just met each other again. Like and they're singing about love after just I don't even remember what sparked it. Like I just okay.
It's a Disney movie. The rules are that you have to fall in love with your female counterpart within 24 hours.
That's not true. What about
go on.
While boo little.
Come on, man. You got to. I can make a list right now.
Disney. Big Hero 6. They didn't have a love interest.
There's no love interest.
Okay. It took me a minute. That's one.
But everyone that does, it's like a 24-hour period.
Okay, one that doesn't. Let me think. What are those red fire trucks? Let me. We'll come back to it. I will come back to that.
We're gonna make a review for that.
Yeah. Male characters fall in love with their female leads within 24 hours. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll circle back to that. Okay, guys. Thank you very much for listening to our review. Sorry if it wasn't the great shining review you were hoping for, but hey, that's our honest opinion, and the least we can say is thank you for at least listening to it. So yeah, barely there, and now we're here. Thank you so much again. Keep listening and keep watching.